So now we're going to move on to competition, and we're going to start with a report from Gavin and Marie-José on the status of the North American and World Road Gaining Champs that had to be postponed from this year.
Perfect. I'll take the lead on this. Okay, you have the slides ready. Perfect. Good evening, everyone. And we have just one slide here to represent, I think, the hard work that our steering committee at the BAOC club has put a lot of effort into planning what was scheduled as the 2020 NAOC Calo Fest. Unfortunately, we all know this has been canceled and has been actually postponed to 2021. The steering committee has been working really hard and meeting on a weekly basis to continue the hard work on this international event. So just to give you a quick summary, we're hoping to reopen registration in November. Currently, we have still about over 600 people that are currently registered, about 400 for NAOC and 260 for WRC. That is much more than we had expected, in a sense that we were over between 700 and 800, and correct me, Gavin, if I'm wrong, a little off the numbers, but prior to the announcement of postponing. So we expected more people to simply ask for a reimbursement, but we have agreed to freeze their entry and not to increase. They would not be affected by the increase of fee next year. So we still have 600 plus people registered for the event. As many of you might be aware, the stage 2 of the event of the festival that was planned at Big Basin has now been, will need to be at a different event due to a recent huge fire that have completely destroyed this amazing national park. So very shortly, we've been having quite a bit of discussion on this. We're down to 3 parks, 3 venues, and we're gonna narrow it down and make soon a decision that should be posted on our website. The all course setters for NAOC have been really, really hard at work, spending many days in the Tao area, and all the courses are set. Many of them are flags. They has been reviewed by many people, and assembly area have been chosen, have been designed, and it's pretty impressive to see all the hard work that has been put into planning this event. As far as the final adjustment to the maps and courses will definitely be made in the spring of 2021, considering the cold weather and the snow in the Tao area in the winter. We will have some work to do in the spring when we know a little bit more about logging. Logging is one issue that we are facing. So there has been some changes in terms of mapping and some changes in terms of control placement based on that. So we're gonna keep a close eye on that. We still have people going this weekend to, again, work more on the sprint course and test run some of the long course. So definitely moving forward, and it's quite exciting. As far as COVID-19, I'm sure many people are asking about this. We will definitely use the government and OUSA guidelines, as well as local guidelines depending on the county, since the festival is going to be held in different counties in California. We have different guidelines. And definitely, in order to have the event, in order to have the festival, one of the main requirements is we need to make sure that the border between Canada and the US is reopened. We are monitoring the status very closely. I'm definitely monitoring it because I've not been able to visit my family, but as far as the latest news, definitely was still closed. Canada announced recently that they were not projecting to open the border unless the statistic were showing a decrease in cases in the United States. So I don't know if anybody has any update on that, but that is really going to determine. The goal of the CalOFest steering committee is to make a final decision by April 2021 about having the event or postponing it again. So we really hope, and so far we have put all the efforts into continuing to plan for this event. All the information is on the website, and you can find this at www.cal-o-fest.com. If you have any specific questions, please feel free to put on a chat. Otherwise, Gavin, please, would you like to add anything?
No, you're you're a far better presenter than I am. So good show.
The little graph shows you a little bit of the entries by country, but I think if I'm correct, that is also on our website. We're trying to keep some statistic. Gavin, one thing about the Rogaine, could you just say maybe one word about the decision about the Rogaine? Because it's possible we might have to do the NAOC without the Rogaine. Maybe talk about that.
Sure. Yeah, the International Rogaining Federation has indicated that there's a minimum level of participation that's required for the Rogaine to be a success. It's a world championships, so it needs this level of participation. They've also indicated that there needs to be a diversity of countries participating, and they have some indicators of, or some guidelines as to how many countries they would expect to participate for it to be a success. They've also said that it must be a success, and if it can't be a success, then we should postpone it again. So the idea is to monitor all of this, all the international borders, make sure that that the borders are open and that international people can participate. There are probably going to be some countries that won't be able to, maybe, I mean, it depends on things like vaccines and things like that. So generally speaking, if we cannot hold the World Rogaining Championships because of those kinds of constraints, then we will be very carefully looking at the entire festival and trying to reevaluate around April next year what we're going to do with the whole festival. We are opening registration. We have had requests already, or a request, or maybe more than one, for registering for the Rogaine. So there is some sort of demand out there for the registration to open. And that's kind of encouraging to us because we weren't sure when and whether to open registration, but it seems like we're getting some requests now to open it. So we will be doing that in November. I think the International Rogaining Federation is also monitoring it very closely and making sure that that the event can be a success. So that's the main determining factor is again, the borders. It's the same determining factor for the North American Championships, but for the North American Championships, it's really just one border that needs to be open. And for the World Rogaining Championships, it's, you know, a lot of borders that need to be open. I think that's just so that you know, there's the 260 participants for the entries for the World Rogaining Championships, plus the 400 for NAOC adds up to more than 600, obviously. And that's because there's a bunch of people that are doing the Rogaine that are also doing the North American Championships. So there's one of our objectives in holding these two events together was to get some cross-pollination between Rogainers and Orienteers, and that appears to be the case. We have had good success so far. Something like 30% of the folks who are registered for the Rogaine are doing the North American Championships as well. So it's pretty good. But you know, you have to stay tuned, and we'll all watch what happens over the winter with this virus. Thank you.
There's a question in the chat about mountain biking and whether or not that could be connected to the Rogaine.
Yeah, we've had a big discussion with North Star, who are the main hosts up in Tahoe, the event hosts. Well, what do you call it? The arena hosts, and they have a very strong mountain biking presence at North Star. They use the gondolas and they use the ski lifts and everything, and it's a very strong mountain biking presence. So we've had some discussions with them. They've asked us to keep our event more or less away from the mountain biking area, unless we want to do some mountain biking as part of the event. The problem is that it's a downhill facility mainly. Regular, straight mountain biking is, they have that too, but it's not as ubiquitous, it's not as well supported by North Star as their downhill mountain biking. So that is something that we are considering it, and it will be something that if we can swing it, we'll sure do it. But right now we have a lot on our plates, so we haven't made a commitment in that direction yet.
Okay, thank you.